The post-Zach LaVine era gets started off with a bang or a booze. Can I say that? As Matas Buzelis has a good one, so booze, is that something? Well, anyway, the Chicago Bulls get a win in the first game after Zach LaVine gets traded away against the Miami Heat. Me and Pat going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. That's Pat, the designer, host of the Windy City Breeze, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. What's going on, Pat, man? The Bulls get a dub today, man. Feels good. It feels good to talk about it. And the way that they got the dub was really important as well. We're going to break all that down for you guys. But before we do that, I got to remind you guys, today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. Pat, Matas Buzelis tonight, bro. We got to start off talking about Matas Buzelis because I know that's what everybody wants to hear about, because the young rookie got his first 30-plus minute game today. He was 100% from the field, 10 for 10, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 2 block shots in this game, and you saw early. Patrick Williams was the first player to check in at about 90 seconds into the game, which is weird. Patrick Williams came into the game, but then less than a minute after that, Matas Buzelis came in. And almost right from the jump, the energy started changing. He got a dunk, I think, within his first 2-3 minutes in the game, and that confidence kept building, and it never went back. Matas was the only reason we won this game, but here's where I want to start off. How'd you feel about the game for Matas Buzelis today?
That's how you take advantage of your opportunities. I love it. I love it. This young man, every opportunity he's been given, and not to say that he has played great in every single game. I'm not telling you he's going 10 for 10 in every single game, but every little bit of, all right, get on the court, show me something. He's shown you something. And today was the culmination of it. Hey, guess what? I'm going to have more shots than I'm ever going to get probably with a Zach LaVine on this team. Now that he's gone, they're going to me early. I have the opportunity to go out here and ball out. I loved what we saw out of this young man today, not only on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. 2 block shots on the day. He need to work on some of the one-on-one defense. I ain't gonna lie. He be getting
that's definitely where he needs to. Yeah.
You know what he kind of reminds me of? He reminds me of, like, you know, KD's not a terrible defender, but he's better because basically I'm 7'1" and I can block anything that gets past me. Like, that's kind of what Matas reminds me of as a defender, but I say all that to say, like, I love the effort on both ends. He's trying on both ends of the floor. I love the want to. I love the fight, and I love the fact that, you know, he's not shying away from any of the pressure. Remember, there is some of the, you're from here, this is the team you grew up rooting for type of pressure on his shoulders. He said, I finally get the chance to show you what I can do. Let me go perfect from the field. By the way, let me go perfect from the field and perfect from the 3-point line, where they said I couldn't shoot that ball coming into the NBA, and that's why I end up falling. I thought we saw a great showing out of him tonight, and I'm super excited to see if this is something that does continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely the minutes are going to be there for him. I love the fact that, you know, Billy Donovan did let these guys play, and as it built, like, you started seeing like Kobe and Matas, and we got to talk about Patrick Williams and Matas minutes together, because that's starting to look like something. Is that those two guys and their minutes together as far as impact? But Matas Buzelis, we always knew that he had the mindset, right? That was something that me and you were both high on when the Bulls did get to draft him. Was that, hey, this is the type of guy you look at and you say he's going to capitalize, or you believe he's going to capitalize on every bit of the potential that he has, because he just has that mindset. He doesn't back down. He doesn't get down on himself. He takes everything as a challenge, everything in stride. And even when he does mess up on something, because you're right, the one-on-one defense still needs some work. But if you look at where it was coming into the season to now, it's with minimal minutes, you can already see he's starting to make strides in that area. And I do think that Matas has that type of mindset where this offseason, he's going to look at that and be like, hey, y'all not cooking me next year.
No, 100%. Like that's and I'm not saying this is an apples to apples comparison, right? Because one is vastly better than where Matas is right now. But I remember Derrick Rose when he left his first season. And the thing that basically I think Kobe ended up telling him was, the reason that you weren't better in your rookie year is because you can't shoot. You need a jump shot. Go get a jump shot. And Derrick Rose worked all offseason on his jump shot and came back the next season. And lo and behold, all of a sudden he's knocking down jump shots, forcing people to have to play up on him because you can't leave him open anymore. And now it just accentuated the speed. I expect the same thing out of Matas because of the mindset. And let's be real, defense, there is a talent to defense. There are elite defenders in this NBA where, right, a Jimmy Butler is something where there's a God-given ability that he has. He just has something with his footwork and his body positioning and just knowing where to be to make him a really great defender. It doesn't mean that you can't be a good defender if you don't have that, though. And I think that just comes from putting in the work and putting forth the effort. And dare I say, you mentioned it tonight, right? Like how it seemed like the Bulls' mindset switched the second that he started scoring. I don't know if he's your number one player. But can he turn himself into somebody who is a leader on this team? Can he turn into somebody who is somebody that the rest of the team looks towards when they need kind of, okay, what direction are we going? If I've got that guy on my team right now and he's got the mindset that Matas has, I think that you're going to have somebody who can really set a standard for the Chicago Bulls in the building that, hey, we can't fall below this.
Yeah. And it's about like also like, hey, if this guy's giving this level of effort as a rookie, why can't we all give it, right? Like that type of thing is infectious. And I wish Dalen Terry would have been available in this game because I do think this is one of those games as well that Dalen definitely would have picked up on the energy coming off in the building and off Matas. And
Dalen might have swung on somebody. Matas brought a lot of energy. Dalen like that kid when they get too sleepy and they don't know what to do with the energy. You be like, you tired? And they just be like, ah! That's Dalen. He wouldn't know what to do with it. He was just like, ah!
That's hilarious. Let me ask you this. So we know that the rest of the season is built now mainly around development, right? Like I think there are going to be a lot of the young guys who are here getting minutes, things like that. When you look at Matas Buzelis, how do you think is this going to be kind of more the role that we see Matas Buzelis? Like, not always the impact. Expect him to go 10, 15, even 20 points is not going to happen every single night. But do you think that from what we've seen from Matas, also paired with the place that the team is, that he's going to have a lot more opportunities to do this more consistently what he did up until this point?
I think what we'll probably see is the minutes maintained. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, right? I've seen Matas go 1 for 9 in a game, a couple times this season, 1 for 6, right? Not have the same, but he's going. I think now the focus is on, okay, you kind of know what you have with a lot of these pieces. He's the one unknown, and we just gave him 30 minutes tonight, and he absolutely balled out of his mind. Give him 30 minutes again, or 28 minutes, whatever it is, right? And just give him that time to go out there and make those rookie mistakes, make those things he has to learn from, and then let him develop throughout this season. The part I love about this is what we saw out of Matas is something, and I guess here's a little bit of the Pat on Pat crime. Pat played well today. Pat didn't shoot the ball well, but defensively, it's, again, I said this in the last game, this is now the best defensive game I've seen him have. I thought he did a good job. I thought he gave good effort. I think this is probably
plus 18 today.
I was going to say, this is probably his highest plus minus of the season, if anything. But the part that I like about what we're seeing from Matas is, I got the opportunity, I'm doing something with it. And then after the game, right, was that 2 games ago? He's like, yeah, this is what I was supposed to do. This is the only way I'm going to get better. Don't take this away from him. Yeah. Let him go out there. Let him continue to cook. Let that relationship continue to build with the guys he has on the floor. I think you may have something special here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you hope for when you draft him anyway. But Matas Buzelis continues to shine in a way that you appreciate, and let's hope that this continues for Matas Buzelis. I love what we've seen so far from Matas. I think that you pointed out his defense, and I definitely think that's something that we need to see improve for Matas over time. But listen, he's a rookie, and it's not all going to be the finished product right away, right? And this team knows that. And I think we know that as well. Like, we're not expecting Matas Buzelis to look the way that he is now. That's going to be how he looks when he actually plays considerable minutes. I think we're going to see a nice jump from Matas Buzelis from year 1 to year 2, because I think this guy's going to put in a lot of work. He gets to stay at home. That's one of the reasons we saw Ayo take a nice step as well over his because he just lives in Chicago, so he was able to stay and take advantage of Peter Patton. So I think those are going to be things that we really get to see nice from Matas Buzelis over the next offseason going into the next season. But we got 30 games left now, I think, for the rest of the season.
Do we have to give Peter Patton like an immense amount of credit?
Yeah.
Like, this team shoots really freaking well. We couldn't shoot 2 years ago, dog.
And I think one of the reasons too that we need to give Peter Patton credit too is like everybody on this team, right? Even Kobe last year with his leap has given credit to Peter Patton because they're like, hey, Peter Patton has told me things that no coach ever told me before, because that's just Peter Patton's eye, right? And so now that we're going towards this development state, hopefully Peter Patton's voices continue, man. And listen, I read something today. I have to send it to you. They were like, what if they're actually grooming Peter Patton to be the next head coach of the Bulls? And I'm like,
I don't know about that.
I don't know anything about his X's and O's.
Coach to
I mean, has he done anything X's and O wise, right? Like, we'll see.
Listen, you never know. I mean, nobody knew how much of an impact Thibs had until after he got the head coaching job, and everybody was like, y'all know he gave us our entire defense, right?
Yeah, he was actually coaching the defense, right? So we'll see. But next up, we're going to talk about the rest of this team in the win today, because there are a lot of good things to talk about and pull out here that I think need to be called about. But first, we got to get some message from Game Time, which, damn. Looking for tickets for your next big event, whether it's a concert or comedy show or sports game, finding the right ticket at the right prices can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. Let me tell you how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. I've been using Game Time Picks for a while now, and here's why I love it. The curated deals make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. No more shifting through thousands of options. I recently grabbed a super deal for a prime seat and couldn't believe the value. It was a steal. The seat view feature is a game changer. Before I even hit buy, I can see exactly what my seat will look like in the venue. It's so reassuring. And the best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code, that's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. Who else stood out to you in this game? We had 4 players, I believe, scored 20 points or more in this game. To me, Josh Giddey was a standout, especially in the second half of this game. I feel like he played with a lot more confidence in the second half of this game. And you can't always say that about Giddey, because sometimes if the first half's a little rocky, he kind of gets out of his mindset some. But who outside of Matas Buzelis had the best night on the night for you?
Listen, the production that Ayo Dosunmu gives you is so important. I heard Kendall Gill say this tonight, and I actually believe it. If you're talking about untouchable pieces on this team, and there's some pieces that may be here beyond the trade deadline, we'll see. We saw a bunch of stuff from Casey Johnson, but like, if you're talking about 2 pieces that I want to see built with for the future, right now it's Matas Buzelis, who balled out tonight, mostly because of the unknown around him, right? Like, maybe he's great, maybe he's not. I don't know if he's a superstar, but he seems like he's got the right mindset for this team. Ayo Dosunmu this season, quiet as it's kept, is giving you Drew Holiday level impact. And I know people like look at Drew Holiday now and they're like, Drew Holiday's a way better scorer than Ayo is. He's done this, he's done it. Drew Holiday was whatever any team needed him to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the part people don't remember, where it's like, and I always compared Ayo with his rookie year. I was like, he's kind of like Drew Holiday, and then Drew Holiday cooked him immediately. But like, the impact is, you need me to come off the bench and be solid for you? I got you. You need me to start? I got you. What do you need me to be tonight? You need me to be a scorer? Okay, I got 21 for you. You need me to be more of a facilitator tonight? Bet, I can do that too. Do you need me to be the lead defender because nobody else want to play defense on the best player on the floor? Bet, I got you on that as well. Like, Ayo Dosunmu's impact on whatever he puts his mind to is felt. And it's almost kind of an Alex Caruso type of thing, but I think Ayo's maybe a little bit of a better scorer consistently than Caruso can be at this point. Mm-hmm. Just seeing him, like, the second LaVine was gone, okay, I got to step up more in scoring. Boom, let's go. Like, that to me feels like something that could be consistent. And he's a piece that I want here for the long term. If you're going to keep anybody, like I said, Matas and Ayo Dosunmu, everybody else, like, we'll see what happens.
So Matas and Ayo, those are the two for you right now.
I mean, those are the two that I think that stood out tonight. I mean, just phenomenal gameplay tonight. I of course, Lonzo didn't shoot the ball great, but I thought he did a really good job of just organizing things for the Bulls, especially when they were on the run. A big part of what we saw out of Matas' game, not just him going one-on-one, but just him being around the rim and making plays so Lonzo could throw the ball his direction and he could do something with it. This was a great game for the Chicago Bulls all around. Like, there's a lot of guys that you can go to. 4 guys plus 20 tonight in scoring. Like, this was a game where it really just took a mindset change in the second half of, hey, we're shooting a basketball 53% from the field. Maybe we should just defend somebody. And in the second half, they only allowed 50 points.
Yeah, they did that really well. I think the way they attacked the paint, like they were just in attack mode in general in the second half of this game, and that's always where this Bulls team is, because we aren't the best half court offense. We don't always run off ball actions well and things like that. But when you're in it, when everybody's in attack mode and cutting and all that with the passes that we always have out there on the court, it really does open things up for this team. And I think that this is the way that they need to play the remainder of the season, win or lose. Like, this is the way that you need to play, because this is how everybody's going to stay involved, and this is the best way for everybody to try to make an impact on the game. You just see where the chips fall on that one. Let's flip this and look at the negative. I know that we're going to talk about him a little bit towards the end of this game, end of this episode, but I don't know about you, Pat. I know they say that he can stay. He's embracing staying, but Nikola Vucevic seemed like somebody that's like, I got to babysit these kids. I want to watch these kids.
Not his best night. I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, when I saw Vooch dive for a basketball, this before I saw the KC tweet, but what was it? It was like, it was going out. I think it was on the left side of the court or whatever, like just past half court. It was almost a steal. And like Vooch hit the floor and was like trying to save the ball. And I was like, we ain't trading Vooch. Somebody told him he ain't getting traded, bro. Like, because
you said that was a done deal right there.
Nah, you're not diving on the floor if you finna get traded, bro. Like, what? Like, I gotta go to this next team and try and win a championship. I'm not sticking around with y'all. No. Listen, Vooch tonight, not his best night, but still, I almost want to say you got to look at Vooch kind of as the old school veteran that that every team used to have. It seems like the Bulls are the only ones that really have him now, where some nights is going to be great. Some nights is going to be a little bit down, and he's going to need somebody to pick up the slack for him. But when you look back at Vooch throughout this season, Vooch has kind of stepped up and been the one that's been trying to be the leader on this team, been trying to be a leader on this team.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of what you got more of the leadership tonight out of him than you got the great play, even though still get you a double-double.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's something to be said about that. Like,
bro.
Vooch is always going to give a double-double. Like, I don't know when we'll ever see Vooch not give a double-double. That's just the type of player he is. He's always engaged. He's always locked in a way. He just can't always perform because, we're depending on who's on the opposite side of the ball and how young and youthful they are. But
need that Vooch sponsorship. What? That would be a great.
There's not many times that you can catch me off guard with something, but something I did not expect to hear on tonight's episode under any shape, form, or fashion is Blue Chew. That's hilarious, bro. That's funny,
thinking, bro. You said so he's a little bit over the hill, and sometimes he can't perform.
He needs. What was the thing that Shannon Sharp was posting?
Need them rose.
The
rose sparks.
Yeah, hey, bro, that's crazy, bro. Like, first of all, we gotta preface that too. Like, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, because keep in mind, we haven't seen very many Nikola Vucevic pelvic thrust games. So, like, if he starts taking Blue Chew,
I'm telling you, bro, he need a little bit of something extra, bro. He's not playing hard enough, is what I'm saying.
It's so funny that when we pointed that out, the fact that every time Vooch catches somebody slipping with a dunk, the pelvic thrust come, and you were the first one to point it out. I was like, I think you're right. Bro. And then like 5 more times this season, it's like, why does he do that? If Vooch dunks on somebody, he pelvic thrusts him. It's like, is he marking his territory? Like, that makes it worse, bro.
He's dropping something off. He ain't just dropping that ball in the hole. You know what I mean? Shout out to Vucci. Why are we doing ad read before we get fired on this? No, I ain't gonna lie to you. If I survive the Grady Dick in the hole joke the other day, I think we'll be all right.
Listen, I think you may we may be able to get by a lot now because Nick is still in mourning over Lucas, so I think we're in the clear.
Nick can't deal with it. Oh God. I want to fire him, but I'm just too sad. Hey, man, before we get up out of here, man, we do got to talk to you guys all about, not before we get up out of here, before we get to the final topic where we got to talk about the possibility of Nikola Vucevic and Lonzo Ball stand. We do got to tell you guys all about Game Time. Listen, man, I'm sorry. I said Game Time like you. What the heck is going on? This show's sponsored by BetterHelp. I got to tell you all about BetterHelp. And I mean, listen, there's so many flags out there now, right? You talk about the red flags that you see on everybody. Why not find out some of the green flags that you have? Some of those green flags that could come up in relationships, in life, in family functions, all of those things. And if you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them, actively practice them, and even embody that green flag energy for yourself. Whether you're dating, married, building friendships, or just working on yourself, therapy can help you form relationships that love you back. Listen, me and Haize are big proponents of therapy on this show. It's probably the reason that we can do this show so consistently. And if we're being honest, I probably needed to get some therapy in the 4 months that I wasn't here because needed to mentally prepare for what we're about to go through here with the Chicago Bulls. But at the end of the day, BetterHelp makes it easy for you to get therapy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you can do so at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp.com. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Bulls after this. Oh, all right.
We're still working out the kinks in the rhythm here. We got to work out the flow. Like I was in control of everything solo for so long. We're pushing buttons. Pat's pushing buttons. But anyway, Pat, man, coming away from the game, one of the things that came out over today during the game with Vooch, right before the game with Lonzo Ball, that there's a chance now that both these guys end up staying around. Now, we've heard, of course, right after the Zach LaVine trade that the Bulls were looking for second-round draft compensation for Lonzo and Nikola Vucevic. But came out like literally right before the game started, about an hour before the game started from Mark Stein, that the Bulls actually have been turning down some offers for Lonzo Ball and are reluctant to buy him out at the end of the after the trade deadline, and that actually there are some within the organization that do want to give Lonzo Ball, they want to consider giving Lonzo Ball another contract at the end of the season. As far as Vooch, seems like Vooch is ready and prepared to stay here if need be. The Golden State Warriors seem out on the Nikola Vucevic trade. They're kind of the one team that was the biggest one, kind of pursuing Vooch. They're just looking for something at this point. They may even be bringing back Kevin Durant. How do you feel about the chance that Vooch and Lonzo end up staying on this team long term, or at least to the end of the season?
Happening at this deadline. Here's the one thing. Here's what I'll say, right? Unless you feel that Matas Buzelis in his first game of 30-plus points and balling out is who he's going to be every single night, and he's only going to get better from here, and that you've got a young Derrick Rose on your hands, you can't afford to be trying to run anything back. You can't afford to be keeping pieces on that's going to make your draft positioning worse than it's probably going to be, because the team's not going to stop being competitive, right? You probably weren't trading Kobe. You're probably not. I knew you weren't trading Ayo. Matas is going to be here. P. Will's going to be here more than likely. Like, you've got all these pieces that are going to be here. Your team is still going to be somewhat competitive. You're not going to go out there and lose every single game the rest of the way, which is what many Bulls fans will want. But the Vooch one's tough because it takes two to tango. If people aren't calling, there's nothing you can do, right? The Bulls wanted to move Zach LaVine 2 years ago. They really want to move him last year. There was nobody calling anymore. And the people that were calling weren't giving you what you wanted to hear. So you end up holding on to him until this recent trade. I just think it's tough for me, especially the Lonzo aspect of this. I love Lonzo. I love how he's been playing. I love how he's been balling. I think defensively, he's still got it, which I think, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm very surprised at how good he still is defensively coming off of the knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love Lonzo and would love to have him here, dog, like, unless he's taking league minimum, how you keeping him here? Like, unless he's taking up so little of your cap that it doesn't matter. And league minimum is unrealistic. But unless you're signing Lonzo to a 4-year, $24 million deal.
I think that's a reasonable deal. $12 million per. I think that's
cheap. That's a very, what is that? 6% of the cap? Something like that?
It's not much at all.
It's not much at all.
And here's the thing too, though. Like, I think that there's something to be said that it could even work out for the Bulls and for Lonzo if even if it is just another 1-year deal, right? Like another year to kind of transition. We got we're $65 million below the second tax apron, so we can pay him, and then that way he can prove another year of, hey, I'm healthy before going out there in the open market and maybe signing with another team long term. So there's that aspect of it as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do the contract right. My problem with the whole thing is we don't expect him to do the contract right. I haven't seen AK do a contract. I can't say that. Kobe and Ayo are really well done contracts.
And Jalen Smith is a really good contract too.
Jalen Smith's a solid contract as well. It really just depends on what Lonzo is going to net you versus what he actually can do on the court. And to me, you got Ayo with a 2nd-round pick. Go out there, and what's to say you can't find another Ayo in the 2nd round? What's to say you can't find another who's another 2nd-round pick we had on this? We had Adama Sanogo, who they don't even play him.
Yeah, I mean, he had like the knee injury for a little while there, but
yeah. But like, who's to say you can't find somebody who has talent in that 2nd round that you can't find a way to plug in? To me, I would move on from everybody involved. The Vooch one I kind of understand because nobody else wants to be involved, it seems like. But the Lonzo one, to me, Casey Johnson said teams are calling and they want him. Let me see if I got the tweet here. He said, of course, about the Vooch situation, said Lonzo's drawing interest, but in order to get the draft capital out of the pending UFA, Bulls will probably have to take a long-term money deal back. Remember, Lonzo making $21.4 million. So they don't want to take a long-term money deal back, which pretty much is kind of how it would have to work. And on top of that, I'm trying to see, he had a tweet that listed the teams that were involved. Memphis. I don't see it now. No, I don't see it. But yeah, I know Memphis was one of the teams that he was looking at, that he had talked about, who had interest in Lonzo Ball. So we'll see what ends up happening. For me, it's just, I don't know if you can have a long-term future with Lonzo.
I mean, I don't know if it has to be necessarily a long-term future. I think it just has to be like, what does Lonzo bring? And the way I look at it is this. Lonzo is somebody who doesn't get in the way of the young players. He actually helps them. And I think that his ability to facilitate, while, his shot wasn't falling tonight, but he does facilitate. We don't have right now young players that can create their own shot. I think Lonzo could help with that. So I can see a reason why they'd be interested in Lonzo staying. You want to have some veterans. You said this before. You always want to have some veterans on your team.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they may look at that. And Lonzo just really comes down to the contract. Because if Lonzo is hoping for $15, $18 million per year, I don't see that happen. If he's willing to take, mid-level exception money, maybe a little bit less than mid-level exception, that makes sense for everybody involved. I don't think you're going to get him for a long-term contract if that's the case, because I do think he's going to want to prove he can stay healthy and then get more money, because Lonzo's probably only going to sign one other big contract in the NBA if he can prove he's healthy. But I can see a world in which over a short-term period, maybe a 1+1 or something like that, where it can make some sense for him to come back to the Bulls.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's tough for me. You know what I mean? You've gone through this. You've gone through the healthy stretch of Lonzo. Yeah. Like, to me, this is the healthy stretch of Lonzo. How do you trust it? Maybe they know more about the Maybe shout out to Terrence. That's exactly what. Memphis, Minnesota, and Detroit were the teams interested in Lonzo. Shout out to Terrence Lanier. I don't know why. Maybe Casey deleted that. I was trying to scroll through and find it on there, but
maybe he was like, none of them are interested anymore. Delete. Dang it. Nobody's interested anymore. They're out.
But yeah, the Lonzo portion of it, we'll see how it ends. We'll see how it ends. That's all you can say about it, and it sucks.
Yeah. We shall see, my brother. We shall see, man. Any last thoughts, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Make sure y'all follow us over on Locked On Bulls. Make sure you follow me over at Pat the Designer. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.
Do you appreciate them if they watch but they don't show love? You always say tune in and show love. What if they just tune in but don't show love? Do you still
tuning in is showing love, but then there can be hate with the tuning in. So you're tuning in and showing love by tuning in. But like some people comment in with bad teeth and they show some hate on the timeline. So then we got to cook those people, but we deal with that when we get to them. Yeah, I mean, if you tuned in, you showed love.
Okay, I got you. I had to ask the question there. Make sure you guys are following us at Locked On Bulls. You can follow Pat the Designer. You can follow me at CEO Haize. Man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow after the game. You won't see us before then unless crazy news drops, which last time it was about an hour and a half after the game a trade went down. So you can never sleep around here, man. But we'll see. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Go Bulls, y'all. Peace. They're saying you didn't do the song, brother.
Why do we keep forgetting this?
We're still getting back in routine. We don't win a lot. We don't win a lot.
You're not lying. Hold on. We can't leave without the song. Say red. Big Boozy Boo. Knock it through. P-Will. You done lost your job.
Again.
Shout out Ayo and the team. Now let the pick just drop. Peace. Not my best. I wasn't prepared. No, don't